history of football, and he's here all the way from BYU. Tim Nunez, he's from Tulane. I knew Tim when I was coaching in New Orleans. I was down there for 7 years. He was with Tulane, and he was a receiver coach, and now he's come over to the dark side. He's now a mushroom at Marshall. And it's a really happy occasion for me to be here and talk a little bit about the Detroit Lions. I got one question. As I heard these guys talk, I heard Bob talk about the Packers, and they were running that 18 tight. And he made a statement that the Packers don't get off their blocks. Now, are you talking about the Green Bay Packers? Was that 92 guy playing for them?
No, 2 weeks ago.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I wasn't sure if it was the same Packers. The other thing that Paul Alexander brought up about the three-step drop and how the quarterback will always turn to you and say, get their hands down. And I'm sure the quarterback coach, the gurus of the world, they will also say it. And my point is, fuck them. Because they make $4 million and you don't turn around when they throw an interception and say, why did you do that? So, in my situation, shit happens. And if it gets batted down once in a while, tough shit. All right. What was that little tip that you had? The little 5 things that you started everything with? What was that little term that you used? We were going to talk about using
tidbits.
Tidbits. Okay. My only tidbit is this: on game day, people always say, "What do you do on game day?" Now, I happen to ride over on the first bus, and so doesn't Barry. So when he gets on the bus, I said, "Okay, it's time to go." So that's my tidbit of the day. When he's on the bus, we're going to the stadium. In 1994, we ran 2 tight ends, 3 tight ends, 2 backs, 1 backs. We were coaching them up. We were diversified. We finished 15th in the NFL. We won 9 games. We made the playoffs. But we had a quarterback that had been in the league for 6 years. And he only started like 15 games. He's getting paid $4 million based on potential. And Tom Moore is our offensive coordinator. And Tom Moore does not... He's from the old days. He was with the Steelers when they won the Super Bowls. And in his situation, he always tells a story about Mr. Rooney. When Lambert came in after 2 straight Pro Bowls and 2 straight Super Bowls, Lambert wanted $100,000. And the old man said, come back when you do something. So in our situation, we're giving our quarterback $4 million, and he's played on that. He started 26 games in 6 years. And we're in a situation where we got to a point where we had Barry. We started using 2 tight ends, 3 tight ends. We had 3 first-round draft choices at wideouts. And in 1994, we felt we were okay, but Wayne Fonts, our head coach, said, listen, I got Johnny Morton from USC, a first-round draft choice, Herman Moore, Brett Perman. They're standing on the sideline where we got this fullback from Nebraska who's a free agent who's going to be selling paint next year in a hardware store. He's out there while I got a first-rounder here. He says, put the best players on the field. So as Bob said, we finished number 1 in offense in the NFL this year, and it was because we fit our offense to our personnel. Now, we don't have the Dallas Cowboy offensive line. We don't have a 260-pound fullback. And Barry is not a lead back tailback. So we decided to do what he does best. Don't constrict him. We loved the counter OT when I was at New Orleans. We ran it to death. And we liked it because our runners could run it. Barry is not the kind of guy that you can say, this is where you run the ball and stay with it. All right? We also decided that we didn't want to run any 7-step drops. And the only reason we decided that, Tom Moore and I were standing on the sideline after our quarterback got hit in '94. And he came out. Anybody ever see the movie Bambi? You ever see it before that hunter was going to kill Bambi's mother? You see the eyes of that deer when that hunter was going to kill? A deer with headlights. That's what our quarterback looked like on a 7-step drop. So we said, piss on that, 3 or 5-step, and we're not going to throw 7-step because at 21, come back to 15, forget it. He is running. He ain't setting his feet or throwing. So we decided that we cut the sacks down. In '93, they had 48 sacks. In '94, we had 28. So we wanted to make sure that the guy had some success. He wasn't a starter in the league, but he was our guy. We committed to him, we gave him all that money, and we made sure that we had to get the ball to Barry. In '94, he averaged 25 to 30 carries a game. We looked at the Buffalo Bills. They had 3 wideouts. They had Thurman Thomas. They went to 4 Super Bowls. And in those 4 Super Bowls, they always say, running the ball and defense wins. And one year, I think they finished in defense first, in the top 5. Every other year, they were 15, 18. In our defense, we were 28th in the league. So we felt like if we could keep the ball away, keep our defense off, we'd have a chance. We finished with 10 wins. We got to the playoffs. We got beat. But in our situation, the best thing about finishing first in the NFL is no coach on our staff had anybody had ever worked in the West Coast offense. We didn't read Bill Walsh's book. We don't know Bill Walsh. None of us even met Bill Walsh. We call it the Great Lakes offense. And in our situation, Tom Moore believes in running the ball. He believes in trapping. He believes in working and helping the passing game by running the ball. We threw the ball 60% and ran it 40 times. Our philosophy with a one-back has changed. The only way you run the ball is if they let you. If they don't let you run the ball, we throw it. So we go 6 in the box and 7 in the box. Talk a little bit about Barry Sanders. One thing that made this whole thing work for us and why we were successful. In '94, he had 1,883 yards rushing. This year he had 1,500. Some people would say, well, that was an off year for Barry. But in the 383 yards that he didn't rush for this year, we threw the ball 1,400 more times. 1,400 more yards. And we said to Barry, listen, your carries are going to go from 25 to 30 to maybe 19, but we're going to try to throw it to you 10 more times. And he said, hey, Boo, whatever works. And he didn't hold any press conferences. He wasn't in the game. We played Tampa Bay 2 years ago. He had 260 yards rushing on Sunday night. He said, hey, you got a chance to go in there and get 300. You might get 2,000. We got a few more games to go. He said, Boo, I don't need it. I shut it down. He sat on the bench. He ain't getting hurt in the fourth quarter for stats. That isn't what he's all about. And the only reason we are successful is because of him. And, you have a great play, you don't want to screw him up. The one other statistic that was important for us is in the red zone. We were in the red zone 59 times. We scored 51 times. We had 30 touchdowns, and we took the knee twice. We took the knee against Tampa Bay, and with 7 minutes to go against Jacksonville, we were beating them 44-0. I had my Pro Bowl center was in the game. He didn't want the guy to get hurt. I had nobody else to put in for him. Wayne said, take a knee. Mikowski's in there in the game. He says, hey, boys, you ain't going to believe this one. Take a knee. So we did. And it was one of those deals where we're real successful. Our 1st and 10 package is our 3rd and short package. Our 1st and 10 package is our 3rd down. We're going to be 3 wideouts and 1 back all over the field. Okay? And what had happened to us in '94 was this. Our number 1 play was the belly play, the inside zone. And just like everybody here that talked about it, okay, we basically are reading the guy over the guard, the first covered lineman. We would rather run the ball at the 3 technique because of Barry. His big thing is cutback. He will come back here, he will come back here. And his whole thing is he sees everything. I don't know if some college guys get the Polaroids. We get the Polaroids. I have one rule for my linemen. Don't ever tell Barry where to run. He's going to make you look like a jerk sometimes because he cut it back and you were going for the ass block and the guy's back there and you got him cut off and you're going to run right into a tackle. But every time he does that, about 5 more times, when you miss, he's going to make a big play and make you look good. So your rule is do not talk to Barry on the sideline and tell him where to go. In 1974, I was at offense-defense camp, where they used to sell tape for 25 cents. Some of you guys might know that. You used to have offense-defense camp, and I heard a guy named Richie Pont. And every day, Jimmy would organize it. He said, we're talking football tonight. And Jimmy would get up and talk about the kick step. And Richie Pont was a running back coach from Yale. And he looked like the little nutty professor. His hair was out. And he started talking about running backs and their belly play. And he kept on saying vision. And I'm saying, what the hell is this guy talking about vision? I'm worried about the open crossover. And until I started to coach at Detroit and coach with Barry Sanders, then I knew what he was talking about. Barry makes his move on these guys. He already knows where he's going when he gets the ball. Our only rule is this. The uncovered lineman and Barry, when he gets the ball, if his shoulders are going that way, the uncovered lineman, his shoulders have to be the same way. So when I know my guys are doing it right, they take and they open and they bucket or drop step, and you've all heard about it tonight and this afternoon about where you're supposed to be. Your second step. Where does your second step go? Where does your first step go? Now, Bob Wiley talked a little bit about 6 inches outside the sternum. My guys, when things move, that 6 inches moves. So I give my guys a little bit different landmark. On the inside zone play, if I'm a covered guard and I got a 3 technique, I give him the landmark of the feet of the down guy. If that guy's a wide 3, I'm going to bucket, and my second step goes to his inside shoe. That way my head will go to where he's talking about. If that guy is head up, and I think I might get that guy crash inside, and I can step here and do this, go ahead. But if you're not a good enough athlete, then I'm not going to force it down your throat. You take an inside lead step. So my landmark is inside shoe. So if I'm the tackle here and I'm helping my tight end on this look right here, my second step goes to the linebacker's inside shoe. If that end is inside shoulder of the tight end, I'm going to step. I'm looking at that linebacker. My shoe goes to his shoe. My third step is up the field, and you'll see it on my drill tape. The third step has got to get up the field. So my shoulder's got to be like this, because I know Barry's going to probably cut it back. He is making his move off the safety. On the backside, it's the same thing. I want to get more movement, just like Jim was talking about earlier. I want more movement on that. Make him run a hump. And don't worry about coming off. The only time you have to come off is if that guy disappears or he makes that kind of angle. Move the down guy. So my landmark is shoe. And when we get to the stretch play, we go different with our feet. But I'm talking feet and not head placements. That was our number 1 play. We averaged 6.2 going right and 6.5 going left. Now you're saying to me, how smart is this guy? They did away with that play and they put a different play in the 95. Because our head coach didn't want this guy here, who's a farmer from Michigan State, who's now a farmer in Michigan State. And we had a first-round draft choice that we were standing on the sideline. So he wanted receivers out there. So you have to have a guy on the back side to run the inside zone play, or you'd be running into this all day long, unblocked guy. So now, to jazz it up a little bit, we went from the belly play where the 2 tight ends, it was a check with me thing. We always want to run to a 3 technique. So if they had the 3 technique to our right, we'd stay with it, we wouldn't motion. If the 3 technique was to our left, we'd go ahead and run it. Now I watched some film here of, I think it was Paul they had against Sam Mills. And the one thing when you go to check with me, linebackers, Spielman, those guys, they figure that shit out after about the 3rd play. So we'll guess in the huddle sometimes. We'll say 34 belly. And if we get up over the ball, when the 3 technique is over here, our quarterback would just go up and say opposite, opposite. He don't know opposite what. We'll do it on a pass play. So instead of always going 34, 35, 18, 19, we just get up over the ball and give them an opposite call. That means we're not going to run 34, we're going to run 35. We're running it at the 3 technique. We want to run it at safety support because we know Barry's going to cut the thing back. Okay? That was 94. That was a good play for us. We took it out of our offense. Okay? Now, we went, how do we run the belt? Well, if we had 6 in a box, and I don't care what you call these guys, Will or Nickel Will, our first thing was we'd like to run the belly to the weak side if they let us. So if we had a situation, and this is what a lot of people did to us, 4-2 defense, they boss the mic over, they bring the safety down, and they get to a 7-man front, or they would dick with this guy. They bring him in and out, in and out. So all we had to say to the quarterback was, you get up over the ball if it is fair. Run it weak. What do I mean fair? Can our center block that nose guard without chip help from the left guard? If he can't, then run it strong. If it was a straight 4-2 defense, and it was a one technique over the guard, run it weak. Run it weak. And the same thing holds true. You can go check with me, or you can get up and say, I'm going to call it weak. If they let me run it weak, I'll stay with the play. If they don't let me run it weak, go opposite, run it the other way. And again, your quarterback has to call opposite on a few pass plays too, because then you have a dead giveaway. If you have a problem where you're running it, where this guy is inside when you line up the tight end on the ball, then you just jazz it up and we go yo-yo motion. Or we fly the motion, where you can have an inside-out angle. So they don't always force you into scraping out there, and now you can't block the combo with your tight end. So you trap your end. You snap it, you trap it. And your tackle would always take the zone step. Tackle, you're uncovered. Your shoulder's got to be like Barry's when he gets the ball. Okay? The other thing that happened to us is because of all those people coming down into the front, and they made a 6-man front into a 7-man front, we had to go ahead and call what we call the slant play, is the stretch play. And you've all heard people talking about it today. Here's what we're saying in the slant play. All right, we'd like the tight end to be on the ball. Now, the tight end, your footwork and the tackle's footwork and the guard's footwork, your landmarks are this. If I get the guy dead head up, okay, now my landmark is now on the inside plane. As the tight end, he's stepping, his shoe is in his inside shoe. Now on the outside plane, his landmark is the crotch of the down guy. He'd take a bucket, his second step is here, and his third step has got to clear the hip. Because on defense, what those defensive coaches teach them on all kinds of stunts when you're swimming and ripping, get your hip by the offensive lineman's hip. So your second step can't be here, second step down, and you can't be doing this because then you're going sideways. So your third step has got to go through. It's a power. Boom, boom, and then get up the field with your outside foot. You're going to protect your tackle with your inside leg through the crotch. So there's your landmark. Don't make it a head. Some guys it works for them when they're head. You know, head is good. All right, now, we got in a situation here where I'm going through his crotch. His third step is here. So now my tackle has got to protect the inside on that tight end. So the wider he is, the deeper I step. So now I don't have any kind of run-through possibility if that guy's at normal depth, only if he cheats up. Now I want to cross over, and I want to take over that defensive end. And if we have to push him, we both push him, and we might never ever block him, and this is where Bobby was talking about. That's Barry's guy. If the guy goes over the top, stay on the end, let Barry take care of him. Okay? This guy uses a rip technique. He buckets, and now, if that guy disappears inside, piss on him. Barry, we're telling you, you are running from here to out here. This is not a cutback play. Now, the center, the quarterback has to know if this is a fair block. If I'm only in the strong A gap, my center feels I can get him, he goes through. Sometimes he may pull. DeMonte Dawson at Pittsburgh's the best one I've ever seen. Glover's not bad, but if he feels I can get through, clip him. This guy knows that the center's got a go call, so he got to pull and clip. Now, if you're playing the Giants, they like to grab your face mask. They like to grab hold of your center. We tell them to go right for the fucking knee. They want to grab us, you go for the knee. Blow them up. This guy here, he goes on a slice technique, and if he sees the safety coming down, because he's seen that linebacker boss over, he works straight up and he cuts off the safety. And we're telling him to run the stretch play. So instead of running the belly, which they took away because they brought this guy down and they dick with us in the cadence, they're always bringing him down, and you can't block it, we go ahead and we say we want to run a play, not have to check it, run the slant strong. Now the other thing we'll do is if their corners play off, our wideouts are probably the best in the NFL, in my opinion, on blocking. We always block safeties with the wideouts because there's not a corner in the league that's worth a shit coming up and playing the run, including Dion. So we get and we crack their safeties because Ronnie Lott and those guys are a hell of a lot better at tackling than Deion Sanders. So we come down and crack guys and let Barry take care of the corner. If they're going to try to jam and press you and run with you, that's fine. he's got his back turned. That gives Barry a chance to get to the sideline. So that's what we call our stretch play or our slant play, and that's basically what we get. Most of the people play against us is they bring that guy down. Okay, now, what happens if they play 7 in the box and you want to run the play? Now, you saw Bob in Tampa Bay, and they ran it, and they were successful on the clips that they had. My only problem with this is Barry. Barry likes to cut things back. And when you got a real loose 5 and a loose 9, okay, and they won't let you hook them. They won't let you run. Like you saw Bob's guys, they were running. This guy did a tremendous job, hell of a center, coming down and running. But what happens is, his natural thing was stay outside, their guy. Our guy's a different guy. He likes to come and do this. And when he did that, that put a real pressure on our tackle. Now Bob's answer is block down, pull the tackle, pull the guard. I worry about handoff because when the guy blocks down, this guy's here at the handoff, it's a blow up, and that's the thing that worried me. So what worked for us, I'm not saying he's got a better idea, I have a better idea. What worked for the Detroit Lions was we used a tray block, similar to what Jimmy was talking about. We worked for the front side. And I told him, forget about a run-through. Unless run-through is this guy creeps up, we got down calls, but you're going to go ahead and step with your outside foot, come through the crotch, and this guy would take Jim Hannafin's gap step, and he tried to stay square. Don't use your off arm and get involved here because you'll never get off on that linebacker. Try to stay square, and if you have to, run the linebacker over the top. What would happen is if this guy hangs a little bit and you get any kind of movement, that keeps this nose guard from running flat down the line of scrimmage because there's a little bit of movement here and you can keep this thing outside. What else do they do? Well, on defense, okay, when you got a down block, most of the time the Sam linebacker will take it on with the wrong shoulder. So we say to Barry, if he does that, you run right at him and then bounce it. All right, you are reading the down block there. That guy works up the field, you stay in that crease. If that guy takes it on wrong shoulder, slant becomes the stretch play. It stays outside, let him block himself. The guard, you're thinking kick up. If you log him, it's on the run. You got no time to think. It's an explosion. You hook him on the run. You don't even know you hook him. Most people, when they get a down block, they see the G guard. They're taking it on the wrong shoulder. You're going to get an outside play. On the backside, these two guys just scoop, and like Bobby said before, you got the exclamation point that's telling Barry that guy ain't blocked, you're on your own. Now we can do this in any formation. I mean, we could be in trips, we can bring him across in motion. I mean, you can do anything you want with those little shits out there, but this is an offensive line clinic, so who cares what they do? Right now, this is what we're talking about. This is the thing we feel like if he comes over the top, that tight end makes an adjustment, and he blocks out, and maybe it'll cut up underneath. But we're forcing him to stay in the lane to outside. Where belly was a big-time cutback play for us, because we didn't have anybody on the backside end, we couldn't run belly anymore. So we ran the slant. Now, if you guys like to run two backs, and you like to run the strong eye, we did this. I got this on tape. You'll see. All right, let's say, for instance, you got a guy that likes to wham, okay? And if that guy steps up because he sees wham, all right, you got the G scheme. If that guy takes it on the wrong shoulder, these two guys can pin. Now that back keeps it outside, you got a runaway. So if you want to run this out of two backs and you want that linebacker to step up because he sees near back coming, and this is a good way to blow this guy. That's Jerkovic. He don't like those guys chopping him. All right? You just go ahead and chip him and go backside. Now on the backside, if you got a chance, Sean Jones and Reggie, here's where you can go ahead, set, and cut him. Cut him. Work your cuts. Chop block, roll, leg whip. Well, who gives a shit over there? It ain't happening over there. So give you a shot. Give it a chance for your guys to go ahead and play around and get on their legs a little bit. But if you want to run the slant play out of two backs, and as soon, we call it slant. If you get an over defense, it was just everybody scoop, everybody slip. When you get a guard bubble, it turns into a G scheme. You don't have to call it two different plays. It's automatic. The tight end reads it, The guard reads it, boom, we're G'ing it. Barry's got the same read. He's running for the butt of the tight end. Whether you kick it out or whether you slip it, he's got the same read. And like Paul said, today, the quarterback, they're reaching like hell to get there. Okay? And then you tell them, go ahead and run the naked, try to hold that guy. But that guy isn't a factor. But when I tell the guys on the backside, screw around with him, there's your chance to go ahead and cut. Okay, so we turn the slant into a wham scheme. If, just for those guys, if you want to run it against over, which we never got against, but this is how we were going to block it. We weren't going to wham the 3 technique. They had the mic here and the will on the line. We were going to go ahead and wham like that, okay, and block down, block him, and G our guard, which is our next scheme, okay? And on the backside, these 2 guys would just feint. So against an over and under, the slant play was going to be blocked that way. And it was a learning thing for the fullback. I'm whamming the nose. If there's no nose, I'm whamming backside to the mic. Just trying to get that guy to freeze. When you block down, that guy steps up, that's great. Because then he hooks himself. Now Barry can option run off the end. So that's what we call wham out of the 2 backs, and it was wham slam. It was a stretch play. All right? Now, you saw Bob run this in Tampa as well. Let's say, for instance, John Terlink, our defensive public enemy #1, as the Mushrooms call him, our defensive line coach, he's the guy that likes to leg whip the quarterbacks after they throw the ball. Now he's on our side, so he's a hell of a guy. But right here, what we call is a tug block. And when you say, if that 3 technique is told by the defensive line coach, you cannot be reached. And that guy is, like Paul said, he hates that 3 technique, and the guy comes up the field. What we would do, and now the premium is on this guy's block, and believe me, guys, we didn't have a tight end that could block that guy by himself, especially if that was Reggie. So if we did something like that, we'd like to go ahead and move our tight end, because we didn't think our guy was as good as that guy. So we try to move him and get a little bit running start at the guy. All right? But we would have block down. And the reason we block down, we let that Sam linebacker step up. When he steps up, he hooks himself. And then that would just become a blast play. So if you go into a game, we say, we're running slant, and the kid comes over and he says, Coach, I can't reach the 3 technique. Well, shit, let's run blast. And it's very simple. You don't have to practice it that week. It's already in the system. All you do is block down, you step the guard around. Okay? Now, the other things that we got to, and I'll stop right here, what happened to us on the sideline. We're playing Minnesota. Minnesota's a pretty good football team, defensively. And Wayne is a great guy to work for, Wayne Fonts. He's a great guy to work for. He leaves you alone. He said to me, if I ever tell you which foot to step with, tell me to kiss your ass, because I don't know what the fuck you're doing, he says, and I'm not going to tell you what to do. And it's a great guy to work for. And very seldom does he get on the headsets. But in Minnesota, we're playing Minnesota and kicking our ass. We got to be 27-21. And he gets on the headset and he goes, we're running all this zone stuff. Now Randall's, they're gashing us, they're slanting the guy across the face. We can't slow him down. And he says, why can't we block him? I said, it's the only head coach in the league you can do this to, because I'm just a mushroom. And I said, because they're better than us. I don't know what the fuck to tell you. They're better than us. So then we got to get into schemes. Because if you're going here and you're zoning, and their guys are just racing up the yard, you got to tell your guys something. So you have to have some things, and the number one thing Tom Moore, our coordinator, he likes to trap people. And we run the inside trap. And the inside trap was okay for us. It's not as good as the outside trap, which we'll get to, for us this year because of the way people play us. But the power play that Jimmy was just talking about, and again, if your tight end is not a stud, you got to give him a chance. So what we would do is we would either yo-yo him or we line him up across and we fly him in motion and give him a running start. And the power play that Jimmy, we call it guard. The guard follows the wing. He's the he's the guard after the wing. He's the second guy through. The same thing that Jimmy was talking about, and a lot of this is the same play, but we're talking about, okay, now you can't go ahead and just zone block and man block it, and their guys are better than yours. You got to give you guys a chance. So we start off, it looks like 25 belly, Barry cuts it back, and it's really to counter OT with one guy pulling. This guy on the backside can do one of two things. He can pass set, and then he can work up if they like to bring that linebacker in and cheat. So that was one thing that we did. And it was really kind of a lead draw without a fullback for us. It was like a lead draw without a fullback for us. And like I said, it is not one of these things you go in a game and say, this is our number one play. Our number one play was slant. Our number one play was belly. And this is something that if they're giving us a hard day, we have an answer to help our guys, especially the tight end, because that guy out there is a pretty good football player, and our guy was a rookie. He's 267 pounds. Now, the one thing that Bob had mentioned too, left tackles and left guards in the left-handed stance. This offseason, our tight ends, when they get on the left side, are going to be in a left-handed stance, particularly to help us in the run game. We had Rodney Holman, which Jimmy had here. He's from Cincinnati, originally. He's old as dirt, and he retired this year. And we didn't want to change him. But now we got two rookies. We get Metzelaars. We're going to try to put him in a left-handed stance. The old guys, it's hard to teach those new tricks, but the young guys have been doing it all spring in a voluntary kind of mini camp, and they've got it, and they're basically blocking like the tackle is blocking. All right. The other thing that we did with the slant is if we got in a situation where we had these people coming down, and in pre-snap they were bossing those guys. Well, against Chicago, if we moved one, 5 guys tried to move. They tried to get to an over. They had guys running over here. And then finally they stopped doing that, and then we said, okay, if they want to run this safety down and play him like a will linebacker, then let's go ahead. Tackle and tight end, you're going to come off, and that guy ain't used to being at the point of attack. So when we ran the slant with motion, all the G scheme was off. So we called it 37 slant, fly motion, 37 slant. Everybody knew now if they're going to bring the safety down, let them play at the point of attack. Let them play at the point of attack. Now, if they moved the linebacker, if they didn't move him fast enough, we had an angle there. If they moved the linebacker, then Barry, you can just do your thing. You start it downhill, you bounce it, or you can cut it back off of that. But that worked for us. And again, if you get a team that likes to run the 46 bear defense, the Buddy Ryan thing, all that crap, if you start moving your line, your tight end, and they got a guy on the line, a guy here, all of a sudden he gets off the ball, that guy comes off the ball. So, and Washington probably did the best in all the years that Buddy was in Philadelphia. As far as pass coverage is in front, they had guys turning around each other, giving each other signals, and the ball was snapped, and Jimmy used to have those OT plays, and everybody's just talking to each other. So if you get teams that like to do that, play overs. Always play the over to the tight end side, or the under to the tight end side. You move him a couple of times, they stop doing that shit. All right, the other thing that worked pretty well for us was a wag play, which was a weak side play. Because a lot of our stuff was tight end. We'd have our tight end off the ball. Okay? And then what we said was this. Most of the 3 techniques, like Paul Alexander said this morning, those guys are hard to reach. Well, if they're hard to reach, they're easy to cut off for your backside tackle. So you pull your guard, you pass set, and if you got a guy like our defensive lineman, the only thing in the world that's important is sacks. Who gives a shit what the score is? If we had 12 sacks, we had a hell of a day. But our deal is if you pass at that end and work them up the field, that opens up the hole. So we pull our guard, and now the guard you're pulling for the first linebacker that happened to be the safety. We ace to the mic. Okay, if the mic runs through, he's yours. If not, you're pushing all the way to the backside linebacker, and the tight end you're looking to go up inside, and you're looking for a first thing inside out. And we would run the weak side OT play, basically, with the guard. So we call that wag. That was the wing after the guard. Okay? How are we doing on time? Okay? The only other play that was a big play for us, okay, and it was Barry's play, and I talked a little bit about last year in Tampa, and it's really, people tried to play the draw play against Barry, and I don't care who these guys are, and I don't care where you line them up. If you get in a situation, Barry could be offset in a brown, or it could be right here. It doesn't matter. Okay, what we wanted to do was run the weak side, what we call the brush play. Weak side draw. And basically, he short sets and jumps the end. Get your head up the field, jump him, and make him feel like he's going to beat you. The only reason I do that is I'm afraid of the TE stunt. I don't want this guy to come back here, this guy doesn't rush, and he falls into the play. So go up and jump the guy. The guard, you're going to go ahead and jump his outside number, and if he comes inside, take a bucket step. You bailed on him, and then take and run him inside. Your front side, your center is going to work front side to the front side linebacker, the backside guard, backside tackle, and tight end. Your responsibility is for the backside triangle, and you would zone anything off. Now Barry would, if he was in an offset, he's in brown, he shuffles over, the quarterback comes back, and he's reading the guard's block. If he's here behind the center, he'd take 2 steps over, like scat protection, and he'd run the same path. He's reading, and the big thing about Barry is he starts right at the guy, downhill, and then he cuts it wherever he wants after that. That's why these guys on the backside better be ready to have him come back here, because there's no such thing as backside with Barry. If we wanted to run it to the strong side, the only other change-up we would have, if the tight end can release inside, okay, and it doesn't matter what the front is. If he can release inside, we'd like to have him release like it's passed, work that end up the field. Again, the same technique for the guard. Jump is outside, take almost like an inside step, let that guy beat you inside and take him down. On the backside, you show pass, and like Paul had that left guard in or whatever, you're working pass. You're both stepping, you're posting up, you're looking at the linebacker, and you don't go to the linebacker until you see the linebacker squat and come back up. So you're both stepping and feeling. So my center's going to step to the 3 technique, and he's going to post his left foot for the nose. My left guard, he's posting here, and both of those guys are just passing. They see the linebacker drop and then squat. Now they start power stepping up the field. That's basically what we run as far as our one-back stuff. And it's not a lot, but you don't want to screw up the best football player we got. And he knows if we're running OT and you're constricting him to one spot, that's a hard play for him to run. The other play, because of all our no-back protection and our slide protection, we have our, what we call a tan formation. And then the reason I keep on drawing the over is because this is what people do to us. All right. They run that front, and we run a lot of free release. Either Barry releases out right now, he motions out of the backfield, or we slide protect from that. So the best thing they do is they want to come over here and play the strong side brush. So they boss that linebacker over, and they might bring him down weak if they think they're going to be a run. But most of the time they don't bring him weak if he's in a tan. So what we do is we run a weak side trap. And a weak side trap with overball handling. Quarterback comes straight back like pass. He hands it behind. It's over ball. All right. This tackle cuts him off because he can do it. It's not an under ball. This guard and this center double team to the backside linebacker. This tackle pass flashes and he goes to the middle linebacker. And we trap the 5 technique. Now, most defensive line coaches, when they read trap, they take it on wrong shoulder. Because Barry's coming over the top, this thing very seldom stays in here. It becomes a weak side sweep because that end squeezes down. What happens if they bring the safety down? Then the blocking scheme goes, I go to the first stack linebacker. Well, that's the safety. I got the number 2 linebacker. This guy comes up, the ace goes to the middle guy, and we don't block the same. And that's about it as far as our run game. And we do it from day one.
They do that on the run?
On the run, then we just block it on the run. We fall into it. But usually, Bob, if he's in this spot here, they're bringing him down. If he's over here in this position, unless there's a big tendency where you run this a lot, you don't get him coming down weak. So it's a game plan kind of a thing. We said, if anything, ace to the middle guy, and we'll go ahead and let the tackle go to the middle guy. Okay? Now, talk you through here on this. How much time I got, Bob?
8 8 minutes.
Oh, okay. Let me try to talk you through this real fast on this Phil. You want to hit those legs a little darker there? All right. Here you go. Okay, now same thing. We're going to be in a left-handed stance this year, so he can take that bucket step. And in the second step, okay, this is the outside stretch play. His second step wants to go to his crotch. Now, on this deal here, there's a down block where we felt like he was going to come over the top, Jimmy, so we went near shoulder. Okay? And then now we want him to hook himself. Once he hooked himself, we don't think that this guard is going to have a great block, but if he loses sight of Barry, that's all we want. Now, we say, Barry, you run right at this guy, and you set it up yourself. Okay? 37 slant. Now, what we're telling these guys is to do a better job blocking. Now, this is a first-round draft choice. He don't know how to block yet. That's to a trip formation. All right? Next play here. Okay, we got an under defense, nose guard. Now, it turns into a G scheme. Now, what we want this tight end to do is do a better job on the gap step. Don't get this off arm involved. Now, if they're going to go ahead and jump underneath, Barry, you take care of this guy. You come here, we go for the kick, he jumps underneath. Now, stay on this guy. Just keep running. There's the G scheme on the slant. Now, one thing you'll notice about him, very seldom does he get hit when he carries the ball. Most of the shots that he takes is when we pass block. So we don't ask him to pass block much. All right, here's a better job here. Now, he's still getting his off arm involved, but we're not concerned about run through unless this guy gets tight. Now, Lutz is coming for a kick out. Now, this is a this is 2nd and 1. We told him to get the first down, but he could still stay with this. But our rule is don't tell Barry where to run. So that's a good job, Barry. All right, you got a first down. Okay, now you got the Tim look. We had trouble reaching him. The guard keeps coming around. Now he's taken, with this alignment, he's taken too wide of a step. And his approach should be right through the crotch. If he has no help from his tackle, his inside should go more to his crotch, not cross over. God bless Barry. There you go. Okay? Now, same thing. This is the blast play. Now, this is decent. This is decent. Now, the guard wants to go a little bit more near shoulder by Lomas. The guard wants to go for more of a hook. These guys are always getting his way. Okay? Now, you got the G, the Sam's walk. Well, it's still a guard bubble. Let's kick him even wider. There it is. So what we're saying is this. Bob had that Tampa play where everybody's reaching and running. My guys had trouble doing that, especially our tight ends. And Bob had this tight end, so he knows what I'm talking about. So the G scheme was still a slant, but it was just a different way to do it. Here it is again. Now, taking a bad step. Hook him. Go for the hook. Watch the receiver. This is Herman Moore. He got about 130 passes this year. Watch him. They know what. One of the reasons they get open is because of him in the backfield. So they bust their ass downfield. All right, now you get a situation where you think you're going to get this guy squeezing down. We go to a triple scheme. We just triple slip this. And now watch the crack by Herman. Boom. Now let the corner tackle you. Those guys usually aren't very good. You know what I'm saying? Want to see it in slow motion? There it is. See? Very seldom does he get tackled, even when he's hit out of bounds. That's that vision thing. Here it is again. Get him on a quick count. Now he's taking a shitty step. He's pivoting. This is a pretty good step by my guard. Bucket, get your foot through the crotch. Now if he goes inside, he'll never make the play. Okay? Here's another deal. They're going to go ahead and they're going to blitz you. Well, if he goes inside, piss on him. Now this is bad steps. This is terrible steps. Okay, now the G scheme is off once you have a tight end motion. So if they don't move, you got angles. You know how you got angles. So it's all by recognition there. I got to know when there's fly motion. I'm going to move one, they're going to move a lot of people. Sometimes they don't move. They don't move, you got these two guys are working for him. You got a pretty good angle. There it is. Now they started, and later in the game, they started running everybody across. And we ran the trap backside. I just want to get to that wham play. Now they're going to move everybody. Okay, now they're all moving because we're moving. Now this is a shitty job by my tackle. But if you stay outside with your tight end, the tackle winds up leg whipping him, which is okay. There it is. That's get on the one-on-one. Get him in the open. That's Barry's guy. That's what he gets paid $4 million for. That's his guy. Okay, let me just get to this, the two-back wham. Okay, again. Outside, now they're going to try to bring a safety down, play him like a Sam linebacker. Well, that ain't even Barry. Watch your feet. Second step to the crutch. Now I just want to get to... Okay, now here's that wham play we're talking about. These two guys are working to these two. We're going to wham Jerkovic. Boom. Okay, now, hook him if go for the kick. If he blocks himself, just keep coming. What this does is it freezes this linebacker. And what Barry did during the week was Spielman likes to run over the top because he guesses. Well, what happened during the week in practice, Barry just ran it like a wham. So the vision thing we're talking about is he's watching this guy. He already knows what's happening here. He's looking at him. He's inside. He's staying outside. If he ran over the top, he cuts it underneath. But if you're two-back offense, you want to run the same play. Now watch, he's going to block himself. He sees this shit coming. He's going to go on all four. He ain't going to get whammed. Now, if he overran it, Barry would stay inside. But watch my guard. I got no kick out, so I'm going to keep wrapping for the linebacker. So if you like to run the strong eye and you like to run your lead draw, this might not be a bad play to run it off of. And I told these guys, especially if it's Reggie, go ahead and cut him. Cut him. Okay.
Okay, guys. We'll be back here at 4:30.
I've made some drills over the years, and some of these are from when I was with the Saints, and all the time guys say, hey, can you send me a copy? And it was no problem with me, and then our video guys started to get a little bit, it's too much work for them to do. So what we did was we sent the tape, and that's why Bobby's selling them. I think he stole a case of tapes, and he's making a lot of money on you guys. But all right, here's what we're talking about. And you've heard all these guys talk about whole foot on the ground. And this is a picture of our Silver Dome, and this is a good example of a video guy with too much time on his hand. All right. Now here's what we're doing. Okay, now this is a thing I use a lot of medicine balls in a lot of my drills. And we start with air. And I want to take a set with my whole foot on the ground. And what I told the film guys, I just want to look at the guy's feet. So now, when that guy takes a jam, and that guy stutters, and he mistimes his jam, usually, if the whole foot's supposed to be on the ground, what happens is this. Oh shit, he's off balance. And if you see guys getting missing blocks and missing your jams, it's usually because of two things. They got a poor jam with their hands, or they took poor footwork to get to their sets. I'd like to have him have his whole foot on the ground without his heel up. He's off balance. So I tell my guys, you got to play like you're in the weight room. If you're going to squat, you're going to deadlift, you're going to do it with this is all your weight. This is where all your weight is, right here. I'm thinking about your balance right in here. So if I'm going to punch a guy, Okay, and I'm going to be based. Okay, I got a bar on my shoulder, that's right here. I even have my guys close their eyes, take a 3-set on me. Boom. All right, then I walk around the guy, and if I think he has too much weight forward, I'll push him. I want to make sure that that guy feels like this is where all his weight is. And like Paul had said and Bob has said, I always start on the line. I want to see them take a foot, keep their foot on the ground, but get the whole foot on the ground. I'm talking about 90 degrees in the knees. All right, so what I did with the medicine ball was, I want him to punch the ball. I want the guy to try to do something different and try to hit him in the face with the ball. Get your hands up. Paul was talking about kicking a guy in the face. I never thought of that. It's pretty good. Right here. Boom. This is where his power is. This is where he strikes. Okay, and we're just talking about the jam. Okay, we'll go into the zone step now. Okay, this is another thing I do in the off season. All right, we're talking about the slide step, not the bucket step. Now we talked about getting the inside shoe to his inside shoe. I'm not telling him where to hit with his head. I'm telling him where this shoe has to go. And what I'm saying to this guy is this: roll off your instep like you're rollerblading. Okay? Don't be on your toe. If you're on your toe, your second step's going to cross you over. Be on your whole foot. Your second step's into the ground. Now the third step, boom, is a bigger step. It's a bigger step. So when Bob said 6 inches down the middle, one inch, I'm sorry, 1 inch, 6 inches. All right, right here, boom, second step into the inside shoe. That'll bring you 1 inch or to his landmark. Okay? And what I'm telling the guy to do is run on his whole foot. Here's another guy. He's a left tackle going for the backside cutoff. Boom, whole foot on the ground. Second step into the inside shoe. Third step, power step up the field. Okay, now if he's on his toes, make him run on the inside of his toes. Okay, same thing here. Now he's a left guard working with a center. Here's his linebacker over the top. He takes his drop step or bucket step, and he's going to work to the linebacker. Look at the linebacker, feel for the down guy. Now, where's his second step going? To his inside shoe. Start. Now this foot here better get up the field. If he's over the line, then I know he's taking power. Now, if I'm a running back behind him, on my third step, my shoulders should be the same same level as his. My shoulders shouldn't be going this way. Okay? Same thing here. Right tackle working with his tight end. Okay, Willie Rowe, probably one of the best guys that'll ever play right here. Boom. Okay, he's like Jimmy Munoz. So, now, I want him to push off his ankle. Push off the inside of his foot. If he's on his toe, run off the inside of your toes. Okay? Same thing here. Left guard working with a backside guard. Left tackle working with a backside guard. Boom. Step, zone step, second step up into his shoe, and then run. That third step's a power step up the field. Okay? Same thing on the right side. Okay, this is what I'm thinking. I'm thinking second step's got to get to his shoe, whole foot on the ground. This is pretty good. This guy's a free agent. Anybody need a guy? He's a free agent right there. He's out in the street. Now look, third step, you got to get up the field. Boom, up the field, bang. All right, now here's the medicine ball punch where we're punching the ball on the line. We're right here. This guy here. This is a 50-pound medicine ball. We call it Dave Butts for those old guys. All right, he's on a bench about 6 inches off the ground. He throws the ball to the coach, and all I want him to do is just jam. Have a little bend in his elbow, and what he's striking it is his chin's to his chest and his shoulders are back. That's the way he wants to just jam a guy. He doesn't want to overpunch. He doesn't want, and you do 3 sets of 15. 3 sets. He's there for spots. He's there for a spot. Okay? That's just a drill you can do in the off season. Now, same thing. Now, we're down here. Now the ball, he's throwing the ball at him. Here's my set. Whole foot on the ground. 90 degrees in my knees. Ankle preceding the knee. This is all stuff Jimmy talked to you guys about 15 years ago. I just put it in a medicine ball and threw the ball at him. And when he jams it, he's going to jam it just like we want him to jam a defensive lineman. That's the width of his chest. That medicine ball is about a 15-pound ball, 20-pound ball. And what I'm looking for is this. I go into a bar and I just sit on the stool. I want a guy right up here. Jackie, come on over here, please. Okay, I want this guy to get a feeling, and Jimmy told me this a long time ago. He used to call me up on the phone. He says, get out of your chair, get in a right-handed stance. He used to talk me through this. He says, okay, I want you to put and kick your foot here. All right, I want you in a right-handed stance, Jackie. All right? Now, you got a 3 technique outside, and I want you to just pass set on the 3 technique right there. Boom. Okay, now what I want Jackie to do is, you're in a bar room right now, all right? And there's a bar stool. You're sitting on my left cheek. Okay, your left cheek is loaded up right there. That's the feeling. You got no weight out here. Now, if you have to kick and slide, all right, you keep all that weight right in there. Okay? That's what I'm telling him to feel after he jams. Okay, go ahead. Do it again. Do it again. All right. Now, if he kicks and go ahead, pass that. Just say, if he's on his heels, then he has no weight. He's lost his angles in his knees. So I just try to tell him, and I do it myself because Jimmy showed me to do it. You can say it right there, Jimmy. You get and you try it yourself to explain it. Joe's played, okay? He knows all about that. He can explain what has happened to him. But unless you get and you put yourself in this position, when you're in your stance, you load up your right cheek if you're going to take a kick step. If I'm going to take a bucket step, you load up your right cheek. If I'm stepping with this foot, I better load up my left cheek so I can drop step. So my mental weight goes to either side depending on what foot I'm going to step on. So when you jam, you freeze, and I'm looking for 90 degrees, and if I had a bar stool right here and I pulled it out from under him, that's what it should look like. Here's another one, right here. Whole foot on the ground, boom. No, he gets his toe on the ground. He's going to have a balance problem. You can see how he shakes back on the jam. Now here's a guy, watch this. Boom. Oh shit. They didn't throw the ball. Look at how his heels go up. He's got real problems. His ankle ain't going in front of his knee. So there he is. He's off balance. He can't even stand up, and nobody's even come at him. This guy's got a problem. All right. Now here's a drill that I do with pads. I do it with pads. This guy's in a 3-point stance, and I have him drive block. And what I'm telling the guy to do is this, basically, Jackie, right here, please. When you get a guy who's got his hands outside, you're bull rushing. Okay, he's beating me, and I'm fuck. What do I do? Well, Howard Mudd says, well, you squat and throw your legs up. Okay, well, if you can't do that, you've got to get your hand. One of those hands got to get back inside. If you try to do both of them, he keeps on pulling you back. So this hand switches. I got to get one inside. Come on, push right here and then here. Get the second hand in. Now, what this incorporates is, I want a drive block. I'm going to push on my insteps like this, and I'm going to power step. When I say switch, Jackie's going to switch his hands. Go ahead. Inside of me. Go ahead. Here. Now he has to sink his ass down to drive me. We just say switch, switch, one hand at a time. All right? Now, okay? Now watch what happens. But unless you do it yourself, you can't explain it to the guy. All right? Here it is. You tell him to drive block him as fast as he can. He's pushing off the inside. Now, his knees have got to be in front of his toes. If he's straight-legged up and down, it ain't worth a shit. Okay, now watch. Drive, 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 switch. Watch. One hand, boom. His chin's got to get underneath the other guy's chin. He's too high. Get that hip, arch in the back, switch. One hand at a time. Boom, boom. Watch him roll the hips. Boom. Switch. And if the guy's out of shape, do it about 15 times just to piss him off. Alright? There. That's one of the things we do. Now that incorporates drive block. It also incorporates your hands. And the best blocker I ever had weighed about 260, and that was Hilgenberg, and because he had better hands than anybody ever coached. And the other guy I got is Glover. Alright? Now, the other drill that we talk about, I get them on a line, and we start off like the Rockettes. What we're saying here is everybody's going to pass that. We're thinking 90 degrees in the knees. I got a 3 technique, a 5 technique, or a shaded tilted nose guard. I said here they have to set on me. Their aiming point has got to be right across the line, no more. Get the foot in the ground, and there's the 90 degrees in the knees. There's the bar stool. Get your shoulders back, hands ready to jam. Ray Roberts now, he likes the stutter step. So if he has to take a balance step, that's fine. But I don't want him to lose his angle. This guy's too straight up and down. This guy's perfect. Okay, you'll see it again. You do 3 sets and then you have him kick and slide. Boom. If he wants a balance step, go ahead. But what I'm telling Ray is that foot's got to come back. That foot's got to come back. Now here's the 3rd step. You kick. Okay? Then you go with the right. Same deal. Same deal. You see the guy on the right. This guy here does it good. Kano. Watch it. Boom. He's in position. He got good position right here. All right, now they got to kick and slide. You got a wide technique. Now here's the key. If you have a guy, see how the ankle's preceding the knee. Well, look at the 90 degrees in the knee. Now if you have a guy, I saw Tootin do this on Paul's film. Not that he's wrong, but this happens to Lomas Brown a lot too. If you have a guy who kicks and he rounds it off, by that I mean I got a wide technique. I kick, my foot comes here, and my 3rd step fails, and now he has a short corner. If you have a guy that does that, what I do is I take a cone, and I put a cone right here by his foot. And he's got a cone right there. Now I tell him to kick for width, okay? Kick. Now this foot here has got to go back here and go here. So now I can stay square. So the key is not how far I kick with this foot, where does the 2nd foot go? If it comes back, you got a chance to keep stretching the pocket and you don't round it off. So I tell my guys to get in a stance. Alright? They got that cone right there. Boom. And if they kick and they kick the cone over, they got a problem because they're coming and they're rounding it off. Okay? If you have a guy that doesn't kick with depth, you put the cone right there. And then boom, you better kick here. If he has a tendency to kick up, then he's going to step on the cone. So those are these little targets or landmarks that I have on this drill to make sure that they're taking the proper steps. So they're kicking to me. When they finish, they got to get beyond the back on the bar stool. 90 degrees in the knees, be back on the bar stool. Now what Ray does is, he does a little bit more of his weight is inside conscious. He does like a Jackie Slater, which is fine, because he's accomplishing the same thing. All his weight is inside the cylinder. I don't want them guys leaning outside too far, because if they do at the end, they got a big time problem underneath. Okay? There's the proper kick in my mind, right there. But the 2nd step is back. Always drag the foot. Don't pick it up. These guys are in too much of a hurry. They got too much weight outside. So they can see this. You can film this. Go in the handball court if it's illegal. You know, nobody can see you. None of those Title IX women. All right, right here. Right here. Boom. Keep the 9. There it is. 90 degrees in the knees. Right there. Okay, same thing with the righties. Okay, no big deal. All right, now you got a guy that's outside. Now what Paul was talking about, sometimes you have to drop step that inside foot and make it a drive block. My coaching point is this: if the guy makes an outside move and he comes back underneath, try to trip him with the knee. Maybe in air you're stepping up, but in real life with a 300-pounder leaning on you, you're going to probably be flat down the line. But try to trip him with your toe or your knee. Try to trip him. He makes an inside move, move the backside foot and trip him. If you move the outside foot first, too much weight on the outside by this guy. Okay? If you move this side foot first, see, he's too flat. Ray's dropping his hands, so you want to keep his hands up a little bit. I got a drill for that. Okay? Same thing here. I don't mind him if he jacks his hands off. The only reason I like him do that, he's a little looser than this guy. But I tell him to study your feet. When you go inside, try to study your feet. Become a basketball player. Okay? Outside move, moving back inside. Okay, now we take it on air. Now I have him. I don't want him to wind up. If he winds up, then the guy's going to get to his chest. So now, at the end of the drill, is he still on the bar stool? Is there still 90 degrees in the knees? If he is, he raised too far and too heavy on the outside. So that one little thing, putting a little bit of a medicine ball in his hand, changed his technique. So what happens when he gets in a game and he's playing against LT or Sean Jones or somebody with speed, Derek Thomas, he might try to move faster than he needs to move, and he forgets about his technique. So you really probably get beat because you use shitty technique, not because the guy across from you did something different. So right here, whether it's air, Mike is sitting on the bar stool. He's got a medicine ball, he's sitting on the bar stool. So if he can do that versus a live rusher, then we've accomplished what we wanted to do with the medicine balls. Okay, from there, I have them kick and slide. And they have to do the same thing. Okay, and this is from the first day of mini camp, volunteer mini camp, all the way through to the end of the season. Now Ray's going ahead, and now you got to go ahead and deny the inside. So we do that with the lefties, we do it with the righties. Okay, same drill. Okay, now I have a medicine ball and I throw the medicine ball at him. Now, the one I'm looking for is at the end is he still on the bar stool, or did he keep 90 degrees in his knees? Are his shoulders back when he jams? Is he slow with his hands? See, Ray's too heavy on the outside right now. And this is like the first day we ever did it down in Tampa. We go, it's a great deal. Wayne likes to go to see Tampa because it's sunny down there, so we take our mini camp to Tampa. It's better than Michigan. And then he kicks and slides. So the same drill, you throw it, then you throw it at the guy. But you do the same thing over and over again for repetition. Same drills here. Okay, the Dickham drill we talked about, just the lower body. Okay, now I got heavy hands. What happens sometimes when you're kicking out in space, you have a tendency to drop your hands when you change directions. So what I do is I used to do it with 45-pound plates, and I found that they weren't holding their hands right. I wanted their elbows down. So with the dumbbells, 10, 15-pound dumbbells, they kick off their post step. So now, is he still sitting on the bar stool? Is his ankle preceding the knee? He's got a medicine ball, now he's got heavy hands. He still should look the same. Now, when he kicks, let him kick. He can punch off his post, but don't punch off his outside foot. If he punches off his outside, that's not bad. If you punch off your outside foot, you're too heavy to the outside. So we do the same thing. And he doesn't have to punch on every time either. I let him just have some in the hands so they don't drop their hands when they change direction. And again, it's a 15, some of you go 15. If you want to piss them off, make them do it about 5 to 10 times. Now, you got the same thing. Now, who's going to have their hands are going to be quicker? I tell them straight off drive block. This guy's 1 yard, and this guy's 1 yard. The guy who winds up, and if you want to check with your lawyers, you want to do this without helmets sometimes, you really see them get their hands faster. The guy who doesn't have quick hands usually gets hit in the face. Why did he get hit in the face? See how his hands got real wide on the punch? See how his hands come straight up? That's the San Francisco 49ers. That's Pierce Holt. They get inside of you before you get inside of them. So if you really want to get his attention, tell him to take his helmet off. Boom. See, you got the hip roll. Boom. Beat him with the hands. And if you want a lead step, you do the lead step. I'm just working on hands here. Don't bucket step this way. Now, second one, he's going to quicken his hands up. He just got hit in the face with that butt. Alright? Boom. See if they can get quick hands. Make it combative, okay? This guy here is going to win. This guy's going to win. They both have one. Now the third one, let's see who can win. If they do it right, it should come straight up. Okay? Watch this guy. Watch how he winds up. Boom. Straight up with hand. Get your hands in. Beat him with quickness. See how his chest is exposed? Defensive linemen are going to get to him. He's too slow. Too slow with his hands, too slow coming off the ball. Second one, he's going to quicken it up. Once he got hit in the face, all these guys are dogging him over here. They're giving him all kinds of shit for getting hit in the face. He's going to speed it up. Not bad. Not bad. So those are some of the things that we do as far as trying to quicken their hands up. And like I said, if you watch some of the defensive linemen, the best guys, I think, are the Niners and the Falcons, especially with Pierce Holt. They get inside of you, they win every time. Okay, and here's that drill that we were talking about before. Okay, the other thing, that I did not get to, okay, is the 4 and 5 hole play. We were talking about the stretch play, and there's a play action pass. How are we doing, Bobby, with time?
You're all right.
Okay. I'd like to talk you through a play action pass and a screen that we do. Okay, this is the 4 and 5 hole play. Now this is the same, we were talking about the stretch play. Now we're talking about if he's in a 2-point stance, his shoe has got to go to his inside shoe. I got a 0 nose guard, his shoe's got to get to his inside shoe. So my zone steps are flatter here because I got a wide 5. We said before, when I was putting the play in with you guys, we want to run it weak if it's fair. If this Will is not out here, walked, and he's dicking around, we'll run the play to the weak side if we can. I would like him to step through the inside leg, the backside guard. Don't cross over. This guy here is laid off the ball, he should sift to the next level. But this is what we call 24 belly. It's going to the 2-man blocking side. Okay? Run it weak if it's fair. Okay? Hang. If he disappears and you feel you're centered, now you go to the next level. Now what we want Lomas to do is bucket and get his second step to his inside shoe. Now I want his head through the inside number. Now the backside guard, hang, hang, hang. If you never get to this linebacker because he's going over the top, that's okay. Make sure you get to him if he's coming through this way. So this is what we call a 4-hole play to the weak side. Now you got Pittsburgh. They like to blitz. They like to give you all that bullshit here. Okay, 34, we want to run it at the 3 technique. Okay, they're going to run that stunt. They're coming from all different ways. Okay, he's reading the 3 technique. His foot, watch his bucket. His bucket, his second step is into his inside shoe. Now this guy here was going to go ahead and work to that linebacker. He disappeared, so he can go ahead and chip and let him run. So watch my backside guard. He gets 2. Right here, these 2 guys should work in a zone. He should be working with him. That's not right. But see what we're saying? Barry is running off of this guy. He's concerned about the safety. He knows there's no backer force. There's backer force over here. So what he's doing is, I'm not bouncing it out here to an unblocked safety. I'm cutting it to the backside. So this is our inside play. This was a play that was big for us in 94. It was okay for us in 95, but we didn't have a backside guy to cut off. We had the little shits cutting them off. Okay, here's my guard again. I want his inside shoe to get to the inside. He's taking 2 wide because he's on his toe. He's on his toe. Here's the bear defense, the dubs, whatever they call it. Boom. He's cutting off the 3 technique. Now, hang on this guy and don't come off on the linebacker until you have to. Remember what I said to you, if you shift in motion, all these guys are making calls and they forget about where the ball's being going. You know, they're making calls, they forget about it. Now they lose sight of the ball carrier. Now, most of the time these guys get in Barry's way. They should move him to the backfield. Okay, 4-hole play. Now they're going to play over the top. He's reading the 3 technique. 3 technique, he's trying to hook him. He's trying to hook him. But see his vision. Watch what he does. He sees this opening up here. I mean, that shit, I mean, you can't teach that. Well, I'm just saying to these guys, get movement. Don't worry about him. If he's running flat, Barry will take care of that. He'll start him that way. But don't let him split you. Hang and be tight. See again, this guy made more tackles against Barry than anybody in the league. They're always in his way. Okay, now, you get all these linebackers walked up, they're nickel guys, dime guys. Well, we're still going to run it. Okay, we'll run it strong. Now we run it at the tighter of the 2 techniques. They're both tight. Let's run it right. Hang. Cut him off, hang, let him run through like that. This guy's not in a hurry. He's got the backside linebacker until he sees him. He doesn't have to come off. Stay on your down guy. Okay, we would like to run it weak if they let us run it weak. Okay, here's where they blitz. They're going to blitz. These guys coming flat. What we had was a backside call where these guys come so flat. We talked about this last night. And, you can't ever cut him off. He's off the ball and they're running. So we had a backside fold between these two guys. We run the inside belly play and fold these guys. If we felt if we could seal this guy, we could run the tackle with the linebacker past the hole. Or he would overrun it. But we didn't think our tackle could cut him off unless we blocked the guard back. So we just folded that. And we only did that against Pittsburgh because that's their style. They come flat. This guy here is fucked up. He should stay on him. He does come back for him. So when you get those guys on the backside really running flat, what we do is we fold the tackle and the guard.
Use the same scheme if they're grabbing the guard?
If they're grabbing the guard, we would, yes. Or we'll try to cut his leg. Okay, now this is not a good job by my guard. What we did here was this. The center felt and the guard felt we were going to have TT games. So instead of working here, we went to a 3-man scoop. And we made a call, and they didn't do it, so then you go to the next level. But we were anticipating TT here because of where Jerkovic was. Now, this is a bad job of being aware. You should see that right now. But see, here's the vision thing. Now his step's got to be into the ground, but his third step's got to be up the field, which it isn't. See, Lomas weighs 270, so that's not like a power tackle over here. Okay, now they're going to move. Now you stay on the double and only come off if you have to. If he goes over the top, let Barry take care of him. But don't let him penetrate split you and come off too soon and let the 3 technique come up the yard. Same thing on the backside here. There's no reason to come off on him. Hang. What he does so well is he starts downhill and bounces it. Here's our receivers blocking their ass off right there. Okay, same thing. Here's instead of having a defensive back, there's your will. 7-man front, we stayed with the run. Inside shoe to his inside shoe. Bucket. Now what we need is the receiver to do a little bit better job of coming inside and just cutting him off. But he thinks he's a receiver, not a blocker. This guy will block everybody. He caught 130-something balls. He's not going to be great, but he's going to try. 34 belly. It looks like the outside zone play. Okay, there's my center getting grabbed. So when he gets grabbed, I told my guard, cut his leg. Cut his leg. And what Glover's trying to do is a 360 and leg whip. If I can't get off because he's grabbing me, turn and leg whip him. There it is. Backside, you might become front side. Stay square. Stay square. You never know when he's coming back. Okay, that's the 4 and 5. Now, Tom Moore's our coordinator. He ran the shit out of the trap at Pittsburgh, the inside trap. That's a hard play to run. We'll only trap a 3 technique. It's always a check with me. But when we run the trap pass, this guy, if it's Barry, usually draws a crowd. This is not Barry here, but he'll still draw a crowd because they're going to play run pass. We want him to feel that double team. Like Paul said today, go downfield if you have to block the linebacker. My guard is supposed to come and attack the outside number. Don't stop here. Attack the outside number because the back is going to be on the inside number. Sell it out. Don't pull up. And what usually does, it's like the naked deal. Once they realize it's passed, they turn their head and they try to hunt up the inside receiver. So we have a play that comes off of that. This is called trap pass. But what I need the guard to do is come here and sell it and attack the outside number. I think you can see it in the next play. Okay? Alright, out flag, different route. We're just looking at these guys. Alright, now you got a 5 technique. He comes across your face, you bim it. Now you come down, you attack his outside number, keep coming. Barry's going to bring a crowd to him. If he does there, you should be able to get something in here. Right here we're throwing it out. Alright, if he hunts up and they start running out like a naked, we got another play for that. This is called trap pass. 124, 125. 100 means we're faking under ball handling. Alright, here's a fullback from Nebraska. We never ran the ball to him. Barry's going to be the guy that's out in the flat. These two guys are running trap. Down block, run block, who gives a shit? It's like Jim Hannafin's counter tray. Sell the action. Boom. Come down the field. Alright, everybody steps up. Now you got Barry out in the flat. Same thing. 5 technique. Step up, make that linebacker step up. Now this guy's going to come on and wrong shoulder you. Fake it. And it's with a left-handed quarterback, we only faked it this way because it was an easier throw. Right-handed quarterback, you guys be going the other way with it. That's our play-action pass off the trap. And like I said, trap wasn't big, but it helped us on this protection. Step inside, make that guy take us on with the wrong shoulder. He'll block himself. Blind dog in a meat house. Boom. Come on down. Bang. Now this guy's going to turn his back and run. Turn your back and try to run underneath this curl. Now once we see that enough, alright, we go to the trap screen. We got those guys, they're stepping up and they're running underneath the play. They're coming here and they're running to try to run underneath. So we come back and we run the screen. He steps inside, I'm blocking air. Somebody crosses my face, bim him. We come here, we come out, try to cut him. Now, run out underneath it. Go ahead, run out underneath it. 1001, 1002, and then come out in the screen. Have those guys run and chase. Now, my second guy is supposed to come out here, my center, and he's supposed to seal, and this guy's going for the outside third. So if you see them running out underneath your post or your out or your curl, you come back and you run the screen. Okay, step down. Lomas, step down on air. Come all the way down. This Dolman's going to take it on with the wrong shoulder because that's what he's taught. This guy's going to turn his back and run underneath that. Okay? Now here comes Barry. And we got his friends out in front of him. So it's kind of like the naked theory. Everybody starts running under, and you run the naked. The trap pass, if you see that guy doing this, you come back and you run the trap screen. It's the only screen we can get where Barry kind of loses people. Because if in our situation, Barry draws a crowd. And if we run a regular drop back screen, guys come up and hug on him. So when we run this play action screen and they feel like it's pass and they run out, they forget about where Barry is. Good? 5 minutes? Okay. Alright. The only other play that we have, and it's going to be new, and it's no secret because you'll see it in the first preseason game. We ran into a problem with the Lions. And Pittsburgh ran this play, and I've done a lot of research on it, and I didn't know anything about the play until I started talking to the line coaches in the league who run this play. And the biggest problem for us was they show us 6 in a box, and they bring a 7th guy down. So we call it the Pittsburgh draw. And the back is either here or he's lined up here. And what happens if he's behind the quarterback, he sprints. If he's here, the quarterback brings him the ball and he shuffles over. And in this draw here, we're fine. We can run our 21 brush. We can run our weak side draw, work our center here, scoop these guys, and work it like that. This is the problem that the Lions had because Barry. All right, we had a situation where they bring a linebacker, they give us an over defense, they boss the mic, and they run the safety down. Now if you've got a weak side run called, you're kind of fucked. They got more guys than you. They're in the middle of your snap count. We don't have a play weak side, and you wind up always throwing the ball. So what we did was this. We're going to go ahead and run the weak side draw regardless, and it's the same one that you see the Steelers, and we're going to figure out which tackle can club the best. But you want to club this guy and then dual read up to the next level. Now you can do two different things. You can slide protected and bring your guard off on the mic, or you can C-switch it and pull your center like DeMonte Dawson does. These two guys here scoop to the next level, and he just inside slices to the next level. And the only reason we have to do that is we will wind up throwing the ball on every down because of Barry. We can get 6-man on 2nd and 10, and 2nd and 10 is a better rundown for us because Barry can get 10 yards on a run. But what happened to us, and then here's the worst part of this play, and I just found out about it from Kent over at Pittsburgh. This is what they tell them. If you get that look, straight 4-2, they still dual read, and here's what they do. This tackle takes and he clubs, and he goes to that level right there. If the end squats, he doesn't club and go up. He stays on the end. The guard, he jumps his outside number. So what he does here is this. If that guy's outside shoulder, he takes and he steps like that, and he gets stripe to stripe. If the guy takes the inside, he drops his foot, and then he becomes a drive block. He doesn't lose ground. He jumps his outside, gets stripe to stripe, and hopes the guy beats him inside. The center reads the 3 technique. With Barry, most of the time, if you offset, this guy's going to be a wide 3. If the 3 goes up the field, the center and the front side tackle double team the Mike linebacker. That's Mike, there's Sam, and here's Will. If the center sees this guy come head up to inside, he goes front side to back side. So there's going to be a double team on a linebacker. These two guys are scooping. If the center goes backside, you've got a double team there. If the center goes front side because the tackle works upfield, you got a double team there. If this guy squats and he never gets off, your center gets that linebacker. So here's a situation where it takes a lot of coaching. And I don't know that much about the play other than this whole offseason. I researched it through all the guys, Ronnie Blackledge at Indianapolis, Alex Gibbs, and guys who have run it. And it seems to me is the center's got to be sharp as hell. The guard's going to have to set square, get stripe to stripe. If that guy stays outside, you can't turn your shoulders. This guy here starts it at an angle, and he'd like to run it here and then go outside. Because your tackle is going to come down and pin that Mike linebacker. There's a possibility of a double team on the Mike or a single block. If the guy squats and you never get him blocked, then the back, you be your own blocker. And that has happened. And in Pittsburgh, Bam and the rest of them guys, everybody that's running, sometimes this guy never gets touched and they make big yards on him. We have to do it because of the way people run it against us. We get this defense all the time. It doesn't matter if it's Green Bay, Washington Redskins, Chicago Bears. They bring in this guy down here, and you have no weak side belly play. You got to be motioning all day, and then when you motion all day, they time up your snap count. When your tight ends here, they got guys flying off the ball. So we had to get to something where we can run it against a 7-man front and live with it. So, I mean, it's no secret we're going to run it from day one because it takes that much time. You've got to commit to that play. And it took Pittsburgh, Alex told me it took him about 4 years before he figured out exactly what to tell all those guys. Ken Stevenson said the same thing. But if you are a team that's a one-back offense and you're committed to the one-back, Okay, you gotta have to have plays where you can call them and run them, and it's not always check with me. And we have about 4 or 5 of those kinds of plays in our offense. Thank you very much, appreciate it. Any questions?